Welcome to Revival Records Podcast. I'm Peyton, one of the co-founders of Revival, as well as a singer, songwriter, and performer who has spent the last 20 years riding the roller coaster, otherwise known as the music business. And on this podcast, I speak to talented artists, producers, DJs, music moguls, songwriters, musicians, basically anyone brave enough or just crazy enough to make the business of music their mission in life. On today's podcast, I'll be speaking with the ridiculously talented Phebe Edwards. And Phebe is a world-class powerhouse vocalist who sets the bar high, very high, in fact, for the rest of us who identify as singers, and is quite simply in a league all her own. In fact, I can say quite honestly that she possesses one of the most extraordinary singing voices I've ever heard in my lifetime, with the kind of vocal range that most mortals can only dream of, and I'm certainly not the only one to think so. In fact, her remarkable vocals have been in demand for many years now by the world's biggest stars, and if you don't recognize her name, trust me, it's not because you haven't already heard her voice. Phebe has arranged and recorded backing vocals and or toured the whole world with the likes of James Brown, Jessie J, Liam Gallagher, Rita Ora, Brian Ferry, Leona Lewis, Gregory Porter, Kylie Minogue, and the list goes on and on and on. In 2022, she released her own self-penned album, Pandora's Box of Love, as well as featuring on Revival Records' debut single, Earth Song, What About Us, which by all accounts was one of the biggest house records of that year, and lucky for us, she agreed to come back and perform on Revival's third single, a stomping dance floor rework of Aretha Franklin's Think. And more recently, we had the great privilege of recording her yet again for Revival's latest single, Ain't No Mountain. Phebe is currently making her West End debut, playing the role of Katherine Jackson, Michael Jackson's mother, in the award-winning production of MJ the Musical. And in today's chat, we talk about the struggles and the challenges of what it means to be an aspiring artist in today's cutthroat music business. And she shares with me what it was like growing up the daughter of a preacher in a family of talented singers, and how the church provided her with a gospel training and the confidence that paved that road to where she is today. And she explains that it's her balanced approach to ambition and hope that keeps her on that road. It is an absolute pleasure to present to you the divine, the talented, the one and only Phebe Edwards. Miss Phebe Edwards.
Hello.
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 You look absolutely stunning.
I thought I'd bring a little sparkle for you today.
Honey,
How do you
need
feel?
the sparkle.
You need a little shimmer? It's just for
if
you.
Nothing else, just to keep me awake. Because we were both up a little late last night.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Having a little bit of a kiki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last night was the wrap party for our Abbey Road sessions, which this is the first podcast I've recorded with anybody since that whole magic since that whole magic carpet ride. And if I'm honest, I mean, I don't know.
There are no words.
I don't know what's what.
Euphoric. It was just.
It was, yeah, and the thing is, a lot of people said this, like, I almost don't want to try to tell anybody about it because it's going to be annoying, because if you're not there...
You have to be there to experience it. You had to be there.
Because it is the energy.
The energy, everyone was on the same wavelength. Everybody. There was love. There was...
Everybody.
Everyone was just... And maybe, I don't know, it just felt like I knew everybody. I had known everyone for years.
This happened one other time in my life, and that was my wedding. It was 250 people in Ibiza for a 3-day event, so it was also 3 days.
Yeah.
It was people, I had people there from 56 different countries represented because of, and again, same feeling for me, because I realized that it wasn't about some flowers or food, or I mean, of course, Ibiza, the stunning venue. I mean, we had that, but it was literally, it could have been in a barn, anywhere. It was the energy. It was the people. Every single person that came with this anticipation, this attitude, this light. And then, I mean, every day, Monday, Tuesday, it was like, I just thought, oh my God, I didn't think I'd ever feel that again.
All I can say is I walked into the room on Tuesday, and it's like the energy that was left from Monday carried straight through to Tuesday, and I felt at home. That's all I can say. I felt at home around amazing people, amazing talent, just amazing personalities.
Did it feel... because I know you've recorded at Abbey Road before and you've worked with a lot of artists, but to walk in as Phebe Edwards and have all these people that many of whom you've never met before already revere you for your work, for your gift, whatever, you kind of walked in like, not kind of, you walked in, and I'm not referring to the way you walked in, of course. I mean, your walk was perfectly, normal. You didn't seem pretentious, but you walked in like a star because that energy was already in the room. You stepped in, and it was like, I don't know, Shaka Khan had just walked in, or Sharon, that sort of like. And
yeah.
Did it feel different than other times when you've worked at Abbey Road?
I think it did feel different. I've worked at Abbey Road a few times with many other artists as a backing vocalist. But when I was approached by Revival to do these songs as Phebe Edwards, my mindset changed from the time I recorded these songs. My mindset changed that this is for you, Phebe. And I think I had to speak to myself like, girl, you've got this. This is your time and you deserve it.
This theory about, well, anything that we do, whatever our profession is or whatever we're trying to achieve in life, it's like, you're happy and content somehow as long as you somehow can still manage to hold on to that little tiny bit of hope. I mean, I know hopefully we all have hope always, but it can start to feel hopeless in this business because it's not like if you just work really hard and you're really good at what you do and you're really tenacious and you don't give up, that you're going to, it's like you need all of these other factors, these little sort of like things that you can't actually yourself. It's like you need things to fall into place. It's timing, or connections, or that little stroke of just genius luck that kind of happens sometimes. And it starts to sometimes feel like, oh my God, no matter how hard I work, no matter how much I, graft, no matter how good I am at the actual job, I mean, what do I have to do,
Yeah.
And have you felt like that? Because we were talking about your journey.
I think we touched on that. I think in response to that, the one word that comes to me is balance. And not only just with being in the industry and trying to make it, but in life, if you have a balance of gratitude and hope, then you don't find yourself leaning too much one way and then losing it. I think that in my journey, I've been trying to make it, for a very long time. And the more you go through certain experiences and the more life teaches you some lessons, the more you're able to tune into whether you need to ask yourself those questions. Is this right or wrong? And you'll find that it will get easier and quicker for you to walk in a room.
Absolutely.
I could have walked into Abbey Road and I could have felt the energy and thought, this doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, of course.
And I would have just politely excused myself.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to the stage now where I am learning to speak up more and more. Even if it looks glittery and beautiful from the outside, I'm learning to dismiss myself just a little bit, just nicely.
Yeah, listen, that's part of
I know
growing up.
There you go. Whereas before, I would have felt obligated, because of also how I've been brought up in the church. Oh, I don't feel quite comfortable with this message that's been preached today, but I have to sit here because, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
Now, I know that if I visit a church or somewhere that if it doesn't quite sit with me, I'll just quickly put my hand out
politely and just go, this is,
just go home and put on a YouTube message or something.
It comes with confidence, I think. And it also comes with knowing yourself.
No, I was just about to say, resonating with yourself, being in touch with yourself to know what is right for you. And if it's not right for you, it's okay if nobody else gets it. It's okay.
It's okay.
You're not there to convince anyone or make them believe what you believe. Hence, if I was to go back home and say, so Mum, I was praying this morning and I said, yo, God, thank you for this week. And she told me off. That's okay. Because it's not her style. It's my style.
Absolutely.
And I don't need to argue with her
absolutely.
or anyone.
And I've got friends who are Muslims, and I've got friends who are Buddhists, and friends who are, whatever. And obviously I grew up in the church, so I have a lot of friends who are still in that world, and they've got various ways that they interpret their whatever their book is, whether it's the Bible or and that's all okay, as you say.
It's okay.
What's not okay for me is when somebody tries to maybe
push me,
use that as a way to make things difficult for somebody else. I wouldn't agree with that. And,
but then I find that I used to get upset with that. And that used to sit with me. But now I don't even bother to get upset. I'm just
you learn to let certain things go.
They're not where I am.
Not need, exactly.
And I'm not where they are.
Exactly.
And that's actually okay. It's okay.
Wow. I mean, my God, you really, I could talk about this for hours because it is really interesting for me. Because also having been American, but I moved to Europe a long time ago. So, when I talk about this stuff, people say they don't have no idea what I'm talking about. Speaking in tongues.
What?
You're falling out in the spirit,
What?
All that stuff. Which
I know.
I auditioned when I got to college because the Church of God has they do have a lot of churches down in the Caribbean and in the islands. So there was a very small percentage of the student body that was from the islands, and that was pretty much. That was the only, shall we say, people of color or black. I don't know. That was at the school. Otherwise, it was very white.
Yeah.
Now I grew up, and I loved black gospel music. So the first thing I did, I was 18. I was a freshman. I auditioned for the black choir. It wasn't called the black choir.
No, but
there were no black people in it. I mean, no white people in it. And I auditioned and got in and traveled all over the States with them singing in these. I'm talking seriously, like black backwater across the field through the woods, churches that like I had grown up in a version of that. I had never been in that.
The authenticity of it.
That'd be the only white boy in this, packed out, sweaty, sun. I loved that experience. First of all, it was interesting to be the only white person in it.
That must have
always
been an
interesting
experience.
to experience that, and it kind of allows you to understand what it feels like for other people who are having to deal with that all the time. But the experience, the cultural, musical experience of that,
and that's something. Again, there's something about that feeling when it's that real, deep, authentic gospel, moving music. There's something about that takes me.
Let me ask you one more question. I got two more questions, but we'll wrap it up. The music, the gospel, as you know, I've been making house music for 20 years. If somebody knew my sound, the word gospel would probably come up in the description of what I do. But I don't make religious music. And I never, I haven't put out any records that were religious or Christian. However, the house music, a lot of it has had a very gospel sort of vibe to it. And I have a theory about it, but why do you think that sound? I mean, what is it about the gospel sound that is? Whether you're in Russia, whether you're in, you don't have to have had the background for it to resonate.
No,
and I think, and it really has this sort of impact on people who are completely non-believers or have no connection to Christianity. Why do you think that is?
Okay, so let's go back to the definition of gospel. Good news, uplifting, feel good, lift your spirit, raise your heart, lift your head. Gospel does that to you. And there's something about gospel, the way that it's delivered. As you say, it doesn't matter where it's coming from. Once it's gospel music, you can't help but just move and get into that groove and feel, it makes you feel something. And I think that's all it is. If the definition of it is good news, people look for, so we go through trials and tribulations, as I say in church. And, you go through times when you just need something. Can you imagine? Obviously, okay, so I've got a gospel voice. I've been brought up singing gospel, mixed with house music, soulful house, dance. 2 elements of good news, good vibes coming together. Of course, that's gonna be encouraging. And some of the lyrics that are sung, he'll lift you up, he'll turn you around, he'll plant your feet on solid ground. Like, if you're feeling low, it lifts you. It's a good music, it's a good vibe, it's a good feel, it's good news.
And it came from, gospel was born from an era where people were literally enslaved, or
and this is what they needed to lift them.
They needed something to lift them.
And the reason why it's so heartfelt is singing yourself free, even though you couldn't see the end goal just yet. Like we touched on earlier, I've been trying to do this thing for a long time, but if I sing a God, and I've had times when I've been on my face and I'm just like, I'm so over this. And like, it's not happening for me. But once a gospel, there's certain gospel songs, certain gospel voices that I have to turn it off because it moves me too much and I get too jittery. There's certain people when they sing Fantasia Barrino, Aretha Franklin, like the Clark sisters, the Pace sisters, when they start singing, when I hear a track, if it comes on shuffle, I have to turn it off because I'm not ready for that, because I haven't dealt with that emotion yet, because I know that it's going to sing me out and through what I'm feeling. So of course, if it's coming from that time when people were feeling low and feeling enslaved and feeling like there was no way out, they sang to give themselves hope. We go back to that balance of hope.
Absolutely.
So they sang to give themselves hope.
I actually call gospel music, it is the sonic, basically it is the sonic version of hope. It is what hope sounds like.
Exactly. It's uplifting. It pushes you forward. It keeps you going. There have been times when I've been literally on my face and a gospel song will come on shuffle and I'm like, Someone like Ladisi will come on and she might not be singing a gospel song, but her gospel vocals will push me through. So there's something about gospel. I can't get away from it. No matter how many projects I do, it's like R&B and it's like, something that's not, I'm trying to get away from singing. My vocals will always deliver gospel.
And I think that, I think like me, it's inevitable when you have been raised to use your voice for that purpose. No matter what the style is, or no matter what the project, or what the other person's intention is with this music, for me, if it doesn't feel like ministry, and I mean ministry in a completely non-religious way, but everything I've done music-wise has to feel like ministry to me.
One thing my dad taught me, and this is it always goes back to the church and my dad, what he taught me. My dad is someone that when he sings, he opens his mouth. I mean, he's in his 80s now and he sings like Pavarotti. It's like a gospel Pavarotti. Wow. And there's something about I will never forget. I think I was sharing this with Kathy Brown the other day. My dad taught me that whenever you sing like it's the last time you're ever going to sing again. Doesn't matter if you're in the shower, doesn't matter if you're in the kitchen washing dishes. Sing like it's the last time you're ever going to sing. But also interpret the song. And that's something that for me, when you're singing a gospel song, you want to show how amazing it. Amazing grace, how sweet. My dad taught me to tell the story, and every word, every phrase must be able to, the person should be able to feel what you're singing, interpret what you're singing, paint the picture, and sing like it's the last time you're ever going to sing in your life.
And it's not about the technical perfection. It doesn't matter. Have
you heard songs that Aretha did on Wax? She's not note perfect.
Nina Simone was the same. It wasn't about getting all the notes right or in her Nina the
but
piano.
You feel them. Someone else that's like that for me is Fantasia Barrino. Like when she sings, it's not perfect. But you feel her.
You feel it.
Mary J. Blige, you feel her.
And I've heard technically perfect singers, even house singers. You know, I mean, really incredible talent. They've got the chops, they've got the power, they've got the range, and I feel nothing. You know, I've been and I'm thinking it's really
technical.
It's fascinating to me. Standing there thinking,
I need to feel you.
I
need to feel you. Yeah.
Even though you are singing like a bird, you know, like you've got. This, you know,
I need to. That is something that I hope, here we go, that word again, to continue to give on my journey, my musical journey. But I love to get that from other people so I can bounce back, you know, bounce off that.
Well, I mean, Phoebe, I have to say,
feeling.
I've had chill bumps about 4 times. I don't think I've had chill bumps in any of these podcasts, but you've actually managed, even without singing, although you did the little bit.
Although I did, yeah.
Yeah, you did. But it was not even.
Can't help it.
Your singing was beautiful, but it was the things you said. They really resonate with me, of course, but I think they'll resonate with a lot of people because, you know, regardless of what background you come from or what you believe, what you call, you know, what dance you dance or what, you know, what kind of food you eat. We are all brothers and sisters in this life. I really do believe that we're family. I mean, you were my sister before we even met.
Absolutely.
But certainly after we met, it was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We get down. We get down.
I've been waiting for you.
I see you.
Wondering where you've been all these years, Phoebe. And having you part of this is such a joy. And for me as an artist who's now getting to kind of change hats a little bit and put some of my effort and energy into kind of also helping other artists do what, because I've been on that journey constantly trying to balance between hope and gratitude. But I also, you know, at some point came to define success very differently than I had started out thinking I needed to get this, achieve that. I needed to have the #1, the Brit Award, or the Grammy, or the world tour with the big I don't know. You know, you have that. Oh, that'll be when I can see myself as a success.
But this is the thing, and I think we spoke about this already. I think when you have the balance between hope and gratitude, right here and now. If I was just singing in my living room and it made me feel better, I need to learn to appreciate that. It might be great for my name to be in lights, but if I can appreciate here and now, and that's what I was saying about I take that context into my everyday life. Okay, I live here and I'm doing this and I want to get there. I've got a goal to reach this place, but right now I'm grateful for what I have because I could go today. I could pass on to another life. In fact, today.
I thought this morning.
Am I grateful for what I have? Because if I'm forever, that's okay having the goal for have my name in lights or have the mansion or whatever.
Absolutely.
But right now, if I look around and I look at the shoes that I have on my feet and I like that my hair is freshly cut or something, I will be grateful for that in that moment. And I can still say that I've lived a full life.
Absolutely. I think this is key. It helps you along the path. It's the road less traveled by. The road of being an artist isn't an easy one, but you know the sooner you begin to understand that you can redefine and reposition the sort of the terms of what the terms of this contract you have in your head of what defines success for you, and understand that if you're in the game at all, you are already a success. I stood outside the venue after the party last night with Greg Proman and we were talking and I said to him, Greg, the thing is we both believe and hope and trust that all this effort and energy and time and creativity that we're putting into this passion is going to bring on some amazing things. And I really do believe it will. But I said, we have already, right now, in this moment, already with what we've done the last 3 days, and even just the event last night, I feel like a winner. I feel like full. I'm going home with my Grammy. I'm going home with the Brit. Yeah. I have already won.
Did we say this? I feel full.
I feel full. I said I feel empty, but I feel full.
Empty, but I feel full. Yeah, because
my body was running on empty, but my heart, my spirit was running over.
And that's also another church context that we used to use when conventional service was finished. Yes. I feel full, and my cup is running over. And that actually, that's why I'm still grateful for what I was brought up in, because I can take that context through my life and apply it to my everyday, to my music career, to, you know, if God bless me with children and a family, I'm grateful.
And there are
I remain hopeful,
but
plenty
of people out there who do have their name in lights, who have got the Brit Awards and this, that, and they are not happy.
Yeah.
So the truth is, the end game, whatever that objective is, it's not actually the thing that makes you happy. I think as long as we're growing, we're developing, we feel that we're being able to use the gifts that we've been given with some sort of effective, you know, results. I think that is really just the whole mission of it.
Absolutely.
You know, being in it at all, and being in line, being in, you know, with your own truth, with the source, and you've done that, and I think. And the universe is, you know, as we said yesterday, you know, the old song, you know, he's an on-time God. Oh, yes, he is.
Oh, yes, he is.
He's an on-time God. Oh, yes, he is.
May not come.
Oh, well, he may not come when you want him.
But he will.
But he'll be there right on time. Until he's an on-time God. Oh, yes, he is. And I know he may not have come when you wanted it, but honey,
he's right on time.
He is right on time.
Honestly, in everything that's happened this week, it's been right on time.
Bring on the revival.
Revival family.
What a blessing to have you here, and what a blessing to have met you and be part of this with you. I love you.
My love. And, thank you for having me.
Well, Miss Phebe Edwards, ladies and gentlemen.